Hey everyone, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. Nathan Masters here today, going to introduce Project GG Green Grocer. Hopefully it is coming to my modular lineup, and it's going to be a very similar project to Cafe Corner. So within the past year on the channel, I covered that over the entire process, really from start to the finished modular, and then did a bit of a review. I did end up with a somewhat modified version of the building, but it's still very recognizable. Still something that I'm glad that I put together, and don't really see the need to go all the way and get 100% complete to the original inventory. So I think that's going to be very similar course here with Green Grocer. A few things that I did change that we'll look at on the studio model. And that studio model is actually what I have optimized now and made a few adjustments. And then I use that to develop a parts list here. And this is the parts list that I'll be trying to work through. So going into the next couple of videos where I'll actually be covering some recent hauls and some scouting that I did, I'd like to be able to talk about them in the context of this project. I wanted to get introduced and out on the channel. But yeah, Green Grocer, hopefully most of you guys are familiar with that. A lot of sand green bricks here, and I have been fortunate to find some 1x4 and 1x6 sand green on the Lego, like in a Lego store wall. So within the past year or so, going back a little bit further than that, but when I did find those bricks, I knew that it would definitely make Green Grocer an easier goal to obtain if I got to that point down the road. So those will be coming into play. One of the main obstacles that remains now is a rare piece, a sand green piece again. And that was what I hinted at in the previous video looking at Minecraft. So you can go back and watch that, but I did want to introduce this here and start looking at what it's going to take to round these pieces up. And then once I do have my somewhat modified inventory, I'll be building this modular. And I might even get the expansion with an extra floor in there. But we'll just have to see how expensive this gets, because it is going to be a little bit more costly than Cafe Corner. Some of these parts not as easily substituted and harder to track down. Here in studio is where this project really kicks off. And before I actually put any pieces together from the collection, or even go out and decide what I want to be looking for, this part of the process to me is going to save a lot of time and get things off on a good start. Really the first step here, and I did this for Cafe Corner as well, is to just build the original set as it was released. Here in Studio you can actually do an import and then type in the set number, and that will load up the inventory that you need based on the official Lego inventory. And then it's just a matter of finding the instructions online and basically building it like you just would with the actual set, except it's in Studio, it's all digital. So that gave me this starting point here with the original version of the model. And from here you can actually kind of see which pieces are going to be more pricey and maybe get a better idea of what to be looking for to change for my optimization process. I'll sort this by price. And the top three here is what I want to focus on. The most expensive used part, this is taking the last 6 months used average on Bricklink, about $5.50 for the printed 1x4 tile. Just underneath that at $5.26 is the 1x8 sand green brick. And then 1 cent cheaper than that, $5.25 average price for the 4216 groove 1x2. So these three right here are going to make up a bulk, probably almost half of the total cost of the set. Just the nature of having these uncommon parts. 3 copies of the printed tile. It's a little expensive, but it's not going to set you back too much if you're dedicated. And most likely, as an average price, you can find these cheaper if I'm going to be patient about it. So yeah, maybe $15 for these tiles. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping I can do that closer to $10. I'm willing to spend $10 to get the 3 tiles here. What I'm not willing to do is spend $263 on sand green 1x8s. again, specifically because I think I can replace all of the 1x8s in the set with other brick sizes that I already have in sand green, thanks to the Lego store pick and build wall. A little bit more complicated, but still something that I can work with, is the $300 price tag on the grooved 1x2. Now, the first thing I'm going to look at is reducing this quantity of 56. I think there's a couple of these bricks in the model that I can actually replace, and that groove is not visible in the final structure. So yeah, I think I can definitely get this number down, and that'll save a little bit of money here. Again, with the average, I'll be looking at sellers who have this listed for under $5 if I can. And also, these were released in another set, so it might be cost effective, even though it's going to be, spending money to save money. I'm going to be looking for that other set in used condition, which does have maybe 24 or 26 of these in that inventory. And by the time you have the price per piece ratio there, that could potentially save some money on getting just this piece. And yeah, I'll be looking into that in more detail, but that kind of covers the first three here, and that makes up about $600 worth of the $900 price tag on the used parts for this set. About 2,400 pieces. So starting from there, I definitely want to get rid of these 1x8s. I'll pull up my optimized model here. And the first thing I did with this model was replace all the 1x8s. So now in the walls over here, we can see we have the 1x4 and the 1x6. Sort by price once again. And the top two now exclude that 1x8. So very handy. These are the two sizes that I have in sand green from the Lego store. And I was able to get the groove 1x2 down to 48 total copies of the brick. And that's where I'm going to be starting with the stuff that I need to buy. I know I do not have those printed tiles. I know I don't have these sand green groove bricks. The other one I'll be keeping an eye out for is this black skeleton leg. I think I have several of these from the Imperial Frigate set, but also don't necessarily want to part that set out just to finish Green Grocer. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that as I peruse Bricklink for some of these parts. A lot of the other stuff, plates, tiles, roof slopes, I've got that from bulk. So that's just going to be a matter of when I do get back to the collection, hopefully here in July, I'll be bringing my parts list along and starting to pick this inventory. Hopefully I can get close to 90% from the existing parts that I have acquired over the years at bulk price, which is definitely cheaper than Bricklink. And looking at the modified version here, $600 price tag on these parts used. Again, 90% of that I probably have in the collection, so it's just going to be a matter of those harder to find pieces. And estimating from this point, just kind of knowing what I need to find, I think I can get this project done for about $200 of additional expense from where I am right now. So we'll see. That's kind of my starting guess, and this is kicking off the project from this point. So going forward, I'll be starting to track down the bricks. Already have been doing that, but covering that on the channel. And pretty much the same process that I did with Cafe Corner last year. And working through that again for the legendary Green Grocer. If you guys are interested in having this model to work with yourselves, and especially if you have studio, you can actually do some color changing pretty easily, like that easily. So I can definitely put this up somewhere for people to download if that would be helpful. Just drop a comment, let me know, and I'll figure out where I can put that, and I will reply probably in the next video for Project GG. So stay tuned for that one. Stay tuned for the hauls. I'll be talking about starting to track down these pieces, and we'll see you there.